is Katerina Barrie. I am currently in Charleston, South Carolina, and today is Veterans Day, so I'm going to visit the resting place of my grandfather, who was a Vietnam War veteran, military attaché for the United States in Moscow, an amazing entrepreneur, an international mastermind. And I'm very proud of him, and it's been a while since I've visited him. So I'm currently walking the Ravenel Bridge just to start the day, and before we get into the video and before I take you on this adventure, I would like to ask you guys to of course the roses, and then I brought this beautiful shawl that was once belonged to my grandfather's grandmother, his father's mother, and so this thing is over 100 years old. I recently got it as a gift from my dear relative Nancy, and that happened when we were in New Jersey to celebrate my great grandmother's life. So that's one of the things that I have with me that I brought here, and then I have photographs that I want to share with my grandfather. So this is him and my grandmother getting married. He looks really happy with his choice in this picture, and this is a picture of his mom when she was young, and this is her too, and this is a picture of my grandfather, and I remember him like that. I think this picture might have been even taken in Russia, or maybe not, but that's how I remember him. And that's him with his dad, to whose mother's mother this shawl belongs, and he is just very young and handsome in this one, I think. And this is his parents, my great-grandmother and my great-grandfather, who, by the way, changed our last name that was Baraban to Barrie because he was Jewish and she was Jewish, but he did not like being stereotyped, and he felt like it was limiting his business opportunities, so he changed the last name to Barrie. Now, this is my grandfather, and today is, of course, the Veterans Day. So my grandfather served in the Army, and he did this for a while. He was a Vietnam War veteran. And he then became a Russian specialist by going to the Monterey Academy in California and getting special training. And he became a military attaché for the United States in Moscow in the late 80s. early night. Well, he served there before, so at the kind of the downfall of Soviet Union. So that's him. That's who I'm here for. And then this is my grandmother, his mom, Mickey, and she recently passed away a few days before turning 103. So she's joined my grandfather now, and she's very beautiful in this picture. I love the dress. I love the drama going on in the background there. And I just love the way she looks. And I know he remembers her like that as well. When he was little, that was his mom, his young mom. So I know that all these things are special to him. And now, of course, the last picture is I'm in it. I'm right here. This is my mom and my dad. This is my grandfather and his friend from their service together, actually. This is my dad's brother, Brian, and his, at the time, wife, Kathy. And this is my grandmother, whose ring I'm wearing. And this is her husband at the time, Rick. And then this was the wife at the time of my grandfather, Maureen. And the rest of the family, we have Uncle Andy, which is my grandfather's brother, who is alive and still, and he's doing well. I saw him in New Jersey just recently. But then this is his wife, Mary, and she's no longer with us. And then this is Nana and Mickey, who's the same lady as that. So just a few family pictures. I know that his spirit is beyond this space and time now, but we still remember him, we still miss him, and as long as his memory lives, he lives also. Now I'm actually wearing the shawl that's over 100 years old. That's very obviously made with delicate care and belonged to a member of my family back in the 1800s. Uh-oh, I think I might get sprayed. Oh well. I might be safe, actually. Yeah, I think I'll be fine. Anyway, so a few stories that I wanted to share about my grandfather while we're here, and specifically speaking to his entrepreneurial abilities, was that he actually was one of the first people, actually key player in introducing the Apple products to the Russian market right after the crash of the Soviet Union. I don't know the details of that, but I knew he was he had some stock that he owned by Apple at the time. He was always very excited about the launches of new Apple products. He would have freaked out over iPhones, but unfortunately he did not live to see that happen. He would have had every single new iPhone forever. He was a giant fan of Apple. He worked with them in the capacity of, I guess, a liaison and helping them kind of like get into this new market, and he just was very into them. Another thing that he did was he went on this wild, crazy mission to the middle of nowhere somewhere, because he found out that there were some Harley Davidsons that were at some point shipped to the, I guess, Soviet Union, and because you couldn't really own things that were made in like the United States, you know, during the Soviet culture and kind of being closed off, communism, Cold War, all that stuff, someone buried them under the ground. Someone like hid them underneath the ground. So I'm hiding from the sprinkler. Someone said, you know, if you can dig them up and do something with them to where they go away, we can't have them. We can't own these things. So we need to get rid of them. So he found these Harleys and he shipped them somehow to the United States. And what he got for that was a new Harley Davidson in exchange for a bunch of old Harleys that he dug up somewhere in the middle of nowhere in Russia. So that's quite an adventure. In addition to that, he traded some old Soviet aircraft, for display purposes, I guess, to some kind of a military branch responsible for that, probably Air Force. And I'm not sure, but it was not for military purposes, it was for like education purposes. Like, here's what Soviet airplanes look like, and that's what he did. He sold them. That was like a business deal. He found people that were willing to sell it, then he made contact with his military connections in the United States, and then he arranged that deal and then flew them over here, either himself or with help of someone else. That I'm not sure, but I do know that he used to fly planes as well. He was a man of very many talents. He did a lot of deals of like connecting people together, being ultimately a diplomat and making everyone connect to each other and like become friends. He would know a person and then know another person and put them together, and amazing things would happen. Some people did say that he made most of the money that he made for other people. He wasn't doing things just to be self-serving. He was trying to help people that he wanted to help out, and he was very adventurous. So I think he lived mainly for the sense of adventure, and I think his entrepreneurial spirit was to start something that no one has ever started before. He had a lot of joint ventures. He had a lot of like business deals and connections that would not necessarily fall through, but they would not be consistent. So it would generate revenue and maybe become successful, but then he would become more interested in some kind of a new idea. And I do relate a lot to that, and that's something that I'm working through, because you know, something finished is better than something started and abandoned, always. And finishing things, you know, really lets you leave this impact on your community, on, you know, the next generations, whatever it is. But I understand this need to move forward, need to switch to a new idea, because it's so interesting and it's so inviting, and I get that, and I get that all too well, maybe. So he had a lot of interesting business deals in the United States as well. He would start like service companies, he would put together tech companies, he would create these liaisons, collaborations between major corporations, and it's all, there's too much to know, and I wish he journaled like I do. But one thing that he did try to do is go back to Russia and see where his roots are from. And his dad, the one that changed our last name, had Russian roots. So that's hence the last name Barrie, which meant the drum. That's what it means in Russian. And he changed that last name to Barrie. And that's why we're all Barrie. That's why I'm Barrie as well. Which is interesting, because I'm half Russian, but I guess I'm more than half Russian from that Jewish Russian side. So my grandfather was fascinated by Russia, and he really loved it. He really, oh my God, the sprinklers are off to me, I swear. He loved being there. He loved Russian people. He loved connecting to the culture. He was all about that. He was obsessed with Russia. It's just, you know, he loved it. He loved it, and he loved that I was growing up there. And he would visit. He would like spend. He would live half the time in the United States, half the time in Russia, kind of like be in between. And he always, like, he had this blog that he started, and I don't think how far he got with that, but I don't really even know how to find it anymore. But it was like a blogspot blog, and it was talking about how he was tracing back the steps of his ancestors, the steps of his, I guess, dad's side of family. And I'm sad that he didn't get more time to do more of that, because I'd be fascinated in reading all of that. But his dad was also very entrepreneurial. He would sell anything from toothpicks to candy to whatever. They say, like, anything that could be resold at the convenience store, sold to people or whatever, he would work it. So he was extremely entrepreneurial. And so was my, I guess, great grandfather on my great grandmother's side. You know, everyone, like, from every direction. On the side of Jeffrey, on the side of my grandfather, everyone was like super entrepreneurial. And I know where he gets that from, and I guess I also kind of know where I get that from. And I aspire to resemble him in many ways. The only single tattoo I have on my body is I got it on my 20th birthday 6 years ago, more than 6 years ago now, and it's on my ribs, so you can't see it unless I'm like in a bathing suit, and it says she lives her, because what his tombstone says is he lived his. It's supposed to be he lived his life to the fullest, but to us it got a different meaning, because my grandfather really did live his. He was very he really stood out. He was really, really amazing, and he was impressive. So I'm very proud to be his granddaughter. I'm very proud to have access to such precious items as this shawl that would have belonged to his grandmother, to my grandfather's grandmother. How crazy is that? This thing is over 100 years old. It's amazing. It's beautiful. So I'm very happy to be here. So yeah, you guys, this trip is super special. I very much miss my grandfather, but I feel like he's always around me, and I always feel his presence and his character. He was such a character. He wore this like spy hat in Russia, and people would be like, "Are you a spy? Are you like an American spy?" And he'd be like, "Ha ha ha." It was great. Yeah, he really loved like the mystique and persona and a little bit of drama, and I miss his personality a lot. And he passed away 13 years ago, so half my life ago, really. But I remember him as if he was still around, now, So anyway, I think I'm gonna wrap this visit on this note, because I know this cemetery only stays open while the sun is up, and since the sun's going down, I think I'm gonna head out. But thank you for joining me on this journey, and thank you for coming here with me, because it means a lot to me to be able to come here and visit my grandfather, and it means a lot to share my family history with you guys. It really is an honor, so thank you again so much for watching, and I will be seeing you shortly. Bye. Oh, and if you like my content, please don't forget to subscribe. Bye.